Hello! So today is another Wednesday, another thrift day for me. And I decided almost impulsively to go to the thrift store a little bit farther away that I don't usually go to because it's not in the way of anything. The other thrift stores I go to are because they're by the post office or by Joann Fabrics, so I have a reason to be that area. So I almost didn't go, I decided to, and I hit a jackpot. Well, a jackpot if you're into used dolls. Part of the reason I hadn't wanted to go to the store is because the last few times I have gone the random bulk toy table where you get all the toys you can fit into a little plastic bag for $2.99. Those tables have been pretty bare. So I went in and I wasn't expecting much, and I saw a big pile full of, well, the first thing posed dress me dolls, which I have an affinity for these. I'm not sure why. Her eyes are very blue. Usually they turn yellow with age, so they can become a sort of washed out green. She has nice eyes. It's just something about the shortcuts they take with these dolls that I like. Hold on. Anyway, dress me dolls. Silly, ridiculous, old dress me dolls. This one might have been even a storybook doll because she's obviously Little Red Riding Hood, and she has a skirt with a fantastic flocking print on it that I will probably take off of the doll and use to make some other modern doll clothes, because I have no shame, no respect for old dolls that aren't worth anything. And trust me, she's not. But, you know, I said dress me dolls, plural. And, well, some of them were souvenir dolls. Like this set. And now there's a cat banging on the door to get in. I think I'll ignore him unless he gets loud. Anyway, this set, I don't know if he was supposed to have a sombrero too, but, well, I will probably take all of the clothes off of them because I just don't know how respectful these things are. And there was also this little gal. She's obviously had her wig pulled off. I think it's usually just mohair or saran glued directly to the heads on these. She does have sleep eyes. This might be the smallest doll like this with sleep eyes that I have. And she looks so angry. I will definitely put a picture of her up on Flickr later. So angry. And there was this one. On the back it says, Best USA. There are literal pinpoints of paint in the eyes. This one's going to be in the picture too. That's what I like about these dolls, the fact that most of them are just a little off. And then I found actually another one of these guys. I have actually found this guy in this skin tone. Actually, the one I found before might have been a little redder. But it's a little unusual because it's a boy. You don't see too many of these dolls are boys. This I haven't. I'm not an expert. And then I also found a slightly different skin tone version of him. This one is made in the USA. This one is made in Hong Kong, so this one's probably a little newer. His eyes are slightly different, but they are still sleep eyes. And then I dug around a little more, and I found this guy. He actually says Knickerbocker on the back. So I almost wonder if this is the original version. Now, he does not have sleep eyes. His eyes are painted, but they're painted pretty well. And it's just like the evolution of the doll. All dolls evolve, and I just think that's cool. And also on the random toy table, I found this, which is marked Mattel 1980 on the back. And I looked her up, and she's Mrs. Little. She is very little. She definitely has a Kittle's Cologne style face, so I was surprised to see the 1980 copyright on her. Again, there will be a picture because I'm sure I can hold her right up to the camera and it won't focus on her, or else now it won't focus on me. Also on the pile of toys, Kittles. This one even still has her wrist tag, so you know she's the Skididdle Kittle. You can see where the mechanism plugs into her back. Now the bodies are all chewed up and grimy, but their faces are in pretty good shape. This is actually the first time I have found Kittles in a thrift store that weren't clone Kittles, that were still inside the perfume bottles, so this is an interesting find for me. Not sure what I'll do with them, but they'll be around when I figure it out. Let's see, also I found Pokemon. I know I'm not a Pokemon expert by a long shot. These are newer. I know this one's called Hoopa and Wobbuffet. These are going to the child. He's already seen them and excited for them, but he's deigned to let me make this video about them first. And I found a Battle Beast. This one I looked up. He is called Sly Fox. I've never found a Battle Beast in a thrift store before either. Not sure what I'll do with him, but how could I resist a Mecha Fox? And speaking of Mecha, I found a bunch of Godzilla's friends, including Mecha Godzilla, good old Rodan, Katsuki, and I am not a hugely knowledgeable about Godzilla, so I don't know all these names, but I couldn't resist these. Not sure what I'll do with them, which is pretty much the story of everything I own and thrift, but Godzilla, you can't leave Godzilla behind. And I think I've mentioned before that it seems like all the little bits and pieces of Monster High that have been missing over the years when we've been finding the thrifted dolls, missing hands and shoes and arms, they're starting to show up. Well, today I found actually 2 complete pairs of shoes, which, you know, if you're thrifting your Monster High dolls, finding shoes is a nice thing to find. I also found these shoes. I don't know who they're for. I don't know at all who they're for. They're hollow. And I figure I can cut them apart and rig them up into shoes for somebody if needed. If you know what these are, comments are always appreciated. And I found another one of these little dinosaur skeletons, which I have a small collection of these now, all of them thrifted. Some of them covered in glitter, because everything gets covered in glitter eventually. And there was a handful of clothes on the table. And that was it for the table. Well, I found a bunch of Lego, which I've already given to the child because he likes Lego. And then I went back, finally back to the toy section and started finding, well, some of the dolls who the clothes go to. Including, I looked her up when I got home, the Trishelle, So-and-Style Trishelle, who I believe originally wore this. She's gorgeous. Her skin tone would match this, but I did leave her behind because I don't want to take all the kids' dolls. Also, there was a doll with the Desiree sculpt. I haven't been able to figure out who she is. She had bangs, a non-articulated body, and probably the prettiest face paint on a Desiree sculpt I've seen. So I almost bought her, but I thought, no, leave her behind for the kids and repaint this Desiree. I've actually never thought about repainting Desiree before because just the way she's been painted, I couldn't see her potential. But this one, I mean, not only did she have the bangs, which I think her eyes were a little smaller, and her mouth, her teeth, exposed teeth were a little smaller. And it just brought out something in the sculpt that I hadn't seen in her before, so I will probably repaint my first Desiree eventually. And then I found a Swap and Styles Fashionista. Not that I need more bodies, but yeah, I need more bodies. So I've actually gotten to the point now where I am painting, doing whole body fantasy skin color paints on the Swap and Styles bodies. So if I bungle things, I'm not too upset, and if I don't bungle things, then I have a decently articulated body with great skin. I found you need a Wendy. I never expect to find vintage dolls, genuine vintage dolls, and when I do, I'm always surprised by who they are. And she's in really good condition too. I'm not sure if I will keep her or auction her because Wendy's not too rare. And she has really full, thick hair that I combed a bunch of chunks of stuff I probably don't want to think about what it is out of. And it's not dry and frazzled, so I'm happy with this doll. And then I walked over and found some patterns. I know you're here for the dolls and not the sewing. I still want to show how cute this is. And the girl with the blonde hair, I actually might copy her face for a doll because it's a really cute stylized face and I like her eyes. So we'll see if anything comes of that. This nice actual 1960s vintage dress. A man's t-shirt and long sleeve shirt pattern. It's not a spectacular pattern, but if you sew much and ever even thought about sewing for men, you know there's not a lot out there. And if you want variety, you have to go vintage. So that was a nice find. And then this, genuine vintage Vogue. I really like this style of coat. Granted, I live someplace where it's fairly warm and doesn't get too cold in the winter, but I probably will still make this coat just because I like coats. They're fun to make, they're fun to wear, even if I don't get much of a chance. And this was all from one store. Then I went to the other Goodwill, the one that was on the way home, and bought some clothes. No dolls were worth getting, but this cloth, this horribly wonderful cloth, was color of the week. So I've got about 3 yards for $2, and I'm honestly thinking that it might go with this pattern, because if it's worth doing loud and tacky. And so that's it for thrifting. As far as doll projects go, I actually have a hard time sharing my projects in progress because in my mind, if I don't tell you I'm making it and I mess it up, you won't know. It's a secret. No one has to know. But this time, I went thrifting last week and found this mottled blue cloth. It was a fat quarter that cost $0.25. Couldn't resist it, even though blue's not usually a color I use. But looking at it, it reminded me of the way cloth is often rendered in video games. Instead of actually giving it folds and genuine texture, they'll just put a bitmap texture on it. And what's the best known bright blue cloth in video games, at least for me? Well, it's Fallout suit, Vault suit. So I did this completely spur of the moment. It's not finished. I still need to sew it up. I'm trying to decide if I want to put the whatever that brown thing in her shoulder is and sculpt a Pip-Boy for her, and she needs a belt. But I decided to make a spur-of-the-moment vault suit, and this is where I am with it. These boots are from the Star Darling doll that I got on clearance a few weeks ago, whose body went to the La La Loopsy girl's head, because I am nothing if not determined to use everything I have. And this head is from the Pretty in Plaid Barbie I thrifted recently, too. And I'm not a huge Fallout fan. I haven't played it, but I've watched people play it, so I know something about it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this doll. Oh, I decided it should be Vault 59 because while I did some research and found out that Vault 59 is from a huge mod and it's in the greater St. Louis area, whereas Barbie would either be from Wisconsin or Los Angeles. We all know that 59 is the Barbie number because that's the year she came out, and they put 59 all over Barbie clothes. Actually, even this dress says 1959 all over it. So, and I probably won't repaint her face because her eyes actually match the blue of the cloth and the jumpsuit really well. I will touch her eyes up, probably because the light reflections are not where they should be from eye to eye. And I might give her a little bit heavier upper lid, because if you've seen Pretty in Plaid Barbies much, you know that they stare. So this is the project I'm working on. Very silly, very fun, and that's all I can think about to babble about right now. Thanks for listening.